This is Turd Flinging Monkey for TFM News. I'm going to be doing something different today. I was given an article from the Huffington Post in Arabic, and while I used Google Translate to translate the article, I actually had the person who suggested the article personally translate portions of the article for this video. So rather than read the Google translated version of this Arabic article, I'm going to read his personal translation since he is bilingual. The article is from Fadi Zaidan. The title, according to him, is, quote, "How Immigration Destroyed the Unity of Syrian Families and Why the Divorce Rate Among Immigrants Has Risen in Europe." This article is really illustrative to demonstrate how we all face the same problems. All women are like that. You know, whenever you hear stories about the Syrian refugees, it's always talking about the clash of cultures, all that bad stuff. Lost in all those articles is what they're going through. And this is really sad. I mean, I'm going to read this article. I'm going to read the portions that were translated for me. In fact, these guys need the red pill. They have no idea what they're walking into. They're leaving their traditional countries, bringing their families to Europe, seeking a better life. And then, as you'll soon see, as soon as they bring their wives over to Europe and they get a taste of that Western culture, they divorce their husbands. Just fuck them over. They don't give a shit, because they never did. And it's unfortunate these traditional men don't understand that all women are like that. They haven't lived under feminism. They don't understand female nature. So anyway, I hope this article gets you thinking. So let's begin. The article begins, quote, "For so long, the dreams of immigration to Europe generally have been associated with the desire of settling down and having a good life. But a lot of the dreams of immigrants have hit the wall of the new society, with it destroying, breaking down the bond of marriage and a lot of family unity. The differences between the two cultures, the laws, and other social factors have forced the new immigrants to abandon the idea of settling down and starting a family. Sweden alone, for example, has recorded a huge number of divorce settlements among the new immigrants, and the reasons vary between social, economical, and psychological reasons. Marwan Abdul Walid, 33 years of age, asked for divorce after 1 year. After she arrived in Sweden, she says, "In my home country, Syria, it was most impossible to do such an act, that the surrounding society and family's rejection of the idea of divorce, or even the rumors that chase the divorced woman, have made it hard for me to go on and ask for divorce. I have suffered more than I can handle for over 6 years." And she continued to add, "After a female official in social department had listened to her complaints, she gave me a separate resident and temporary right of custody of my children until the judge makes the final decision, not to mention the separate income from my ex-husband." So there you go. So here's a woman, she was married to her husband, had several kids, they come to Sweden, and she files for a divorce, and I mean, they haven't even been to divorce court yet, but the people in charge of managing the refugees have already broken them up into 2 different residences and have already given her custody until the divorce is finalized. Like, the guy doesn't have a chance. We're just automatically going to take your kids away. We're not even going to wait for the divorce to happen. Here, we're just going to take your kids, and don't worry, you'll get separate income from your ex-husband. Welcome to Sweden. Ahmad al-Khidri, 36 years of age, who arrived from the Syrian city of Aleppo, says, quote, "We didn't have any significant problems in our 8 years of marriage. Our life was quiet, or maybe it was traditional and similar to a lot of marriages here in Syria. Real problems start to appear when we immigrated to Turkey, where pressure of surviving the journey had increased." And Ahmad al-Khidri continues to say, "Being away from home and family, in addition to other financial problems, have added more pressure to our relationship and our daily life. The sense of danger that is surrounding my family and the future of my children was a major factor in our decision to immigrate. After we made the decision, our relationship went back on track. In our way to Sweden, we had a lot of conversations about the future where we had always dreamed of, and about our new house, our 2 kids, new school, and even the color of our furniture. Everything was alright. After a journey that took 2 months, we reached Sweden. The big surprise was when Ahmed was about to apply for asylum request in the Department of Immigration, his wife asked for a divorce. According to Ahmed, she told the official authorities in the center that she has always tried to get a divorce, but the laws in Syria prevented her from doing so. Ahmed continued to add, "The divorce happened and now we live in separate camps waiting for the final decision regarding our asylum request." Quote, "She is a liar. As women, you can ask for a divorce in Syria, but she will be shamed by the society and her family, which she can't handle." Unquote. Halfway done, gentlemen, 2 more stories. Saeed Azadi, 26 years of age, who arrived from the Syrian city of Al-Raqqa, has a different story to tell, he says. We got married about 1.5 years ago, and the bride's father made a condition that, quote, I must immigrate to Europe before we do the wedding to ensure a better future for my new family, as he said to me. And indeed, Saeed traveled from the city of Al Raqqa towards Turkey, and from there he took a trip by boat to the island of Samos, and from the island of Samos he continued a long journey to Sweden, which took 28 days and 7,000 euros, and long months of waiting for the final decision regarding the asylum's request and his family's reunion. When his wife arrived alone, and while he was waiting for her in the airport, the big shock was, according to Saeed, she went straight out and asked for a divorce. She didn't even wait to see me. Her young age of 18 and her claim that I married her by compulsion made the divorce settlement go even faster. I didn't have any proof about the marriage agreement. I failed to explain the situation to authorities, and also my attempts to contact her further have been unsuccessful. Aroa, 31 years of age, who is an immigrant who lived temporarily in Jordan, says, quote, we were in a relationship that lasted 3 years. And the agreement was that I cover her illegal immigration costs to Europe so that when she arrived there, she will submit family reunion request in immigration department. I don't have enough money to go with her. Aroa borrowed 10,000 euros to cover her illegal immigration costs, and he went to work hard to pay it back. Aroa continued to say, quote, the disagreements between us started to occur after she arrived in Sweden. At the beginning, the disagreements were simple and related to our daily lifestyle, our customs and traditions. After that, the disagreements escalated to the point of breakup. All my attempts to fix the relationship have failed, and now I'm currently working to make some money so I can immigrate as well. But surely I won't go to Sweden. I'm going to keep a long distance from her as possible, unquote. End of article. Those are the sections that were translated for me, which I'm going to quote. So we have 4 stories of 4 different men who traveled from Syria with their wives, and their wives just immediately divorced them as soon as they could. As soon as the laws were favorable, as soon as they had the opportunity, they bailed. And this poor guy, this last guy, borrowed 10,000 euros and is busting his ass to pay it back. His wife immigrates to Sweden, files for divorce. And these poor guys, they have no idea what they were doing. I mean, they see Europe as like this haven of jobs and opportunity and whatever. They don't know. You know, they see like the wealth and stuff like that in the West. So they bring their women over and then shit happens. I mean, this really demonstrates that all women are like that. For you guys who get Asian women or Middle Eastern women and think that they're going to be different than regular Western women, no, they're exactly the same. I mean, they may look differently, they may have different skin or eye color or whatever. You know, for all those people like, oh, don't date Western women, oh, they're pieces of shit, feminism's ruined them. It's just female nature. Feminism has created this environment where women can simply act on their natures without fear of consequences. I mean, like the article says, back in Syria, she wouldn't have applied for divorce because there's shame. Her family would have shamed her for divorcing, so she stuck with her husband. That's what kept her in the family, in the marriage. Now, feminists would say, oh, that's terrible. If she's not happy, she should leave, blah, blah, blah. Not giving a shit about the consequences of those things. When you just let women do whatever the hell they want, and you're just like, oh, the women should just do whatever they want. Who cares? And then you have all the bullshit you see around you. All the single mothers, all the bastard kids, and all the crime, and all the social problems. This is the consequence of letting women just run buck wild. And if you bring women into this environment, if you immigrate from the Middle East or Asia or wherever, the women are going to be just like that. All women are like that. I really feel bad for these guys. You know, like, they're fleeing from a war zone, they're trying to create a better life for themselves. And as soon as they get to Europe, where they think like the good times are going to start, okay, we finally got here, now life's going to get better. And the wife's like, yeah, for me, see ya, give me all your money. If you have any money. I mean, these poor guys, like, they go into debt to immigrate. They arrive with nothing, and then their wife leaves them and goes on welfare, and now they have to pay child support or whatever bullshit the system throws at them. They're fucked. They're fucked. And I don't know what's going to happen. But, you know, here's the thing. When Western men fall in this situation, a lot of them just commit suicide. I don't know. Maybe these Middle Eastern guys, maybe they're not going to commit suicide. Maybe they're going to get really pissed off and they're going to do something a little bit different. I'm just saying. The women will never be blamed. If these guys who show up in Europe and have their families taken from them because of the gynocentric system, and they decide to take out, you know, action against the system in a violent way, of course it's going to be blamed on their religion. It's going to be blamed on everything other than the women. I mean, you see this, the trad cons blame the left, or they blame Marxism for female behavior. Because the evidence is right there. You know, it's not like these women are disavowing their Islamic faith. They're not showing up to Sweden and saying, I'm going to convert now that I'm out of the Middle East. Now I'm an atheist or whatever. I worship this flying spaghetti monster. No, they're just showing up and being like, all right, see ya. I'm divorcing you and I'm going on welfare and you're going to give me child support. And it doesn't matter what the Quran says about divorce. They don't give a shit. I've had people comment on some of my videos where I talk about the artificial womb and, you know, cloning and stuff like that, saying, oh, why don't you just get a foreign wife? Go to a foreign country and have a family there and it's great. Oh, they're so wonderful. No. I mean, the environment might be better, but underneath it all, they're exactly the same. They're only limited by their opportunity. In Syria, there were consequences for being a cunt. In Europe, there are no consequences. In fact, it's celebrated. The bigger cunt you are, they'll throw a fucking parade for you. And that's the only difference. The women are exactly the same. So my advice is, if you go overseas to find a, quote, good woman, stay there. Do not bring them back to the West. Raise your kids in whatever third world shithole you went to find a woman. Don't bring her back to the West. She'll beg you to bring her back to the West. Do not listen to her. The second you bring her back to the West, she's going to divorce you and take your kids and your money. And I don't know how this message would reach anyone. I mean, I really doubt these Syrian refugees have access to YouTube, but for whatever reason, if this message reaches any Syrian refugees or people who for some reason speak English and watch YouTube considering coming to Europe from Syria, don't. Stay there. I understand it's a war zone and it's shitty and there's all kinds of bad stuff going on, but you're going to lose your family. I mean, you have two options. You can, flee the war zone, come to Europe, get your family taken from you, go on child support and be unemployed and broke because you spent all your money coming here. Or you could just stay there. As long as you're there, she won't leave you. You'll still have your kid. You'll still have your money. You won't be 10,000 euros in debt to pay for the immigration process. I don't know. It's kind of a shitty situation either way. But there you go. I mean, it sucks. It sucks being a man. All these differences in religion and language and everything, men are struggling with this bullshit everywhere. Female nature is just not discussed. People don't understand female nature. Men everywhere need the red pill. Even in the Middle East, even in Syria, in Muslim countries, they need to understand female nature so that they're not surprised when shit like this happens. They can be like, oh shit, I shouldn't have brought this woman to the West. What was I thinking? I should have listened to Turd Flinging Monkey. And then they could, whatever, do whatever they got to do. So I really appreciate the article and I appreciate the translation services. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of the article. So this is Turd Flinging Monkey. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.